Today's Behind These Walls episode highlights the 1930s camp counselor's cabin at Days Point, originally a kitchen associated with Days Point Hotel and now a private residence. This structure illustrates the area's extensive history. The 2,000 acres of land and marsh that extend along the James River to its confluence with the Pagan River constitutes Days Point. The English first patented the area in 1619, establishing routes for the tobacco trade. Over the centuries, farming diversified while industry and tourism began to boom. In 1892, the Days Point Land and Improvement Company was formed. The company's goal was to sell land. By 1895, Days Point was platted into 50 lots, 20 of which were waterfront property along the James River. Prices ranged from $20 to $30 an acre. In 1902, John Morgan and his wife Olive built a two-story frame hotel in the area. With 20-plus rooms and wraparound screened-in porches, it was originally known as the Days Point Hotel and served as a place for prospective real estate buyers to stay. Positioned underneath tall pines, the hotel opened each summer and was a comfortable and relaxing place, serving fresh fish, seasonal produce, Smithfield hams, and homemade ice cream. Health was another reason to visit the hotel. A nearby well produced a steady flow of artesian water, which according to a 1910 advertisement was a cure for ailments such as dyspepsia, gout, and diabetes. The hotel made extra money by bottling and selling this miracle water, while bathers were able to enjoy refreshing showers from the well's overflow. Analysts for the town of Smithfield say that the miracle water's composition is comparable to what is currently produced by the town's reverse osmosis plant.
It's actually still about the same. The interesting thing about this when I read through it is that it kind of brags about the mineral content, where the mineral content you generally want is calcium and magnesium, and those levels are low in Smithfield. And the only mineral that is high is sodium. In today's world, that's actually not a positive thing. And years ago, we actually had to give warnings to people before the RO plant went online that the sodium content's too high for people that are on a low sodium diet, which the RO plant has actually since fixed that.
Tragedy struck the Days Point Hotel in 1918.
One of the defining characteristics of this property is obviously the story of James Morgan, who died while swimming out in the water. He is buried at Ivy Hill Cemetery. I wish it was spring because the old crofter's cottage over here has daffodils. And even though it's gone, the daffodils where he planted them still come up.
After Morgan's drowning, the hotel closed. In June 1919, a group of businessmen installed electricity and indoor plumbing, as well as a large combination dining room and dance hall. They reopened the property as Morgan's Beach Hotel. A bathhouse was built on the beach with steps leading to it from the steep bank. For further entertainment, bathers could slide from the top of the hill into the water. Also on the hotel grounds were a pier, bowling alley, miniature golf course, small carousel, and a pop shop where drinks and candy were sold. Morgan's Beach was a bustling and lively place in the 1920s. Locals and tourists flocked to the area in the late spring and summer to swim in the river, play bridge and lawn games, and devour local fare. It was a favorite resort for locals as well as tourists looking to escape the heat, enjoy some leisure time, and avoid illness. Cottages along the bluffs overlooked the beach, and out-of-towners stayed at the hotel, camped along the shore, or rented beachside cottages. Thursday night dances, many sponsored by the Smithfield Women's Club, were well attended. Intermission saw most of the dancers out in the large pine grove sampling bootleg liquors. Bottled glass is still found on the property today.
We have a great deal of glass bottles, which we have conjectured might be from the old parties that were held out here every Wednesday to discuss politics and enjoy a little libation.
Fond memories of the hotel are abundant and include fishing parties, bathing beauties, jousting tournaments, and jazz orchestras playing the tunes of the day. Smithfield resident Anna Delk Stevens said that wading in the water was lovely, but swimming was never outstanding until high tide. You had to go into Newport News before you could swim. As automobiles became more prevalent and as people began to travel further away for entertainment, the hotel declined. Several managers attempted to make the resort profitable without success. The last manager was George Dallas Chapman Jr., who was forced to sell the property in 1941. The Future Farmers of America and the Future Homemakers of America Camp Association purchased the property. At its most popular, the FFA and FHA had one director, 6 counselors, and several part-time teachers. It attracted more than 400 boys and girls from the farthest corners of Virginia each summer for recreation and instruction. The hotel was torn down in 1976 and replaced with a dormitory. This complex of domestic and recreational buildings associated with the FFA and FHA was an example of the modern movement architectural style. The dormitory was made of concrete block with an 11-bay facade.
The river right here particularly has really reclaimed a lot of this land and eroded into it. There used to be an entire house back here.
While demolition and erosion have taken several structures formerly positioned on the property, a 1945 concrete block garage still stands. The roof has a shed form clad in standing seam metal. The single-story camp counselor's cabin remains by the James River. Originally constructed in the 1930s, it served as a kitchen for the hotel. Presently, it has a brick foundation and wood frame structural system clad in weatherboard. The roof has a side gable form clad in standing seam metal and 3 gable dormers on the north facade, roof pitch with boarded windows.
It originally had a small mess kitchen and a series of bunk beds, which the current landlord then renovated into a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house.
The cabin, repurposed as a dwelling after 2008, holds remembrances of its second incarnation.
You can actually see on some of the floors the original scrapes, the original sites of different pieces. We actually have original graffiti on the ceiling and what we have made our library from one of the camp counselors in 1977. He dated his note.
At 7 p.m. July 22nd, 1975, I was here. Time 7 p.m. is what it reads.
This is one of 4 benches that we have on hand from the original camp council. This is one of 2 historic benches that we actually have out currently for viewing. They are original to the property and to the camp.
Artifacts found nearby harken back to the property's days as a hotel and later camp.
Most of the artifacts that we have still on hand have come from the camp. The camp was definitely liberal in leaving behind various pieces.
When the FFA and FHA stopped using the site, other uses ensued. Members of the Chamber of Commerce enjoyed picnics at the camp each year starting in 1982, and G. Fred Walls hosted an annual church camp for approximately 200 youths beginning in 1988. Campers came from as far away as Ohio, Mississippi, and Missouri to enjoy 2 weeks on the banks of the James River. The property was sold in 2008. Today, this Days Point property and its surrounding area are still remembered fondly.
I have stories of friends in their much younger days who would ride by on their bikes on the road to pick out a new girlfriend from all the young women who would attend the camp. And of course, more recently, to people who actually traveled in from out of state to stay at the camp for various types of retreats. And we've been told that these were very raucous parties and that many people drove drunkenly away after them. Local politicians, people of stature. So this is a very lively old property.